Hello and welcome to Not Even Once.
I'm Seth and I've seen once.
I'm Bob and I've seen twice.
Last time we had the episode That Still Small Voice. We followed Jiminy Cricket's journey to be transformed into the cricket that we know and love as Pinocchio's conscience, mirrored against Archie's rediscovery of wanting to live up to his morals and put his foot down against Regina. We also saw Mr. Gold's tincture turn Geppetto's parents into the creepy-ass dolls in Mr. Gold's shop, and the episode closed out showing that inside that mining tunnel was Snow White's glass coffin.
But yeah, so Jiminy Cricket sure has a backstory.
He does!
In the time since we recorded, I could have looked up, does Jiminy Cricket have an actual origin in the Pinocchio story other than just that? I didn't do that.
When we first saw Jiminy Cricket in a flashback at the round table before the curse happened, did he, cricket squeak? Or did he talk?
He talks with Raphael Sparge's voice.
Okay. Because at the end of the last episode, he did not have a human voice actor. He chirped.
No, he did talk.
At the end of Still Small Voice?
Oh, you know? Yeah, I didn't... He might not have actually talked as a person there.
But he did have a voice.
Yes, he did talk. Because crickets don't make the chirping sound with their mouth.
No, they do that with their legs.
So yeah, I think it was just he was just doing that.
But here, he was.
It's that thing where you're you have hairy legs and you're I'm rubbing these together.
Oh man, I've got hairy legs, but if mine made that kind of chirping sound, I think I'd have a boyfriend by now.
That's the mating call for Andersonville, right? Okay, so I'm reading this from the Pinocchio Wikipedia page. The talking cricket, which has lived in Geppetto's house for over a century, makes his first appearance in Chapter 4 after Pinocchio's mischief has landed his maker Geppetto in prison and insists that Pinocchio must either attend school or work to function properly in the world. When Pinocchio refuses to listen, the cricket states, "You are a puppet, and what's worse is that you have a head of wood," whereupon Pinocchio throws a mallet at the cricket, killing him.
What a twist!
Oh!
I had not read that before I read that live, so that's...
Oh,
wow. Then, in Chapter 13, the talking cricket appears as a ghost to Pinocchio, telling him to return home rather than keep his appointment with the fox and the cat.
Oh!
Wow. Pinocchio refuses, and in the next chapter, he is subsequently injured.
Where is the original Pinocchio tale from?
Germany, I believe.
What time? Is that one of the Grimm tales?
Oh, no, it's not Germany. It's Italian. 1883.
That makes sense. Pinocchio, Geppetto.
Yeah.
So that's not one of the Grimm tales.
Right.
This episode is called The Shepherd. So my guesses from last time were basically...
Yeah, you're I have no idea what to expect. This is... Yeah, big shrug.
And turns out my big shrug was completely founded.
It is I think a pointedly vague title for an episode. It doesn't... it does point to The Prince and the Pauper, which is what this episode is based on.
Okay, I did not catch that at first. Yes, I do get that.
This episode fully does have a much darker ending than The Prince and the Pauper, because in that one, they end up being brothers in the castle and they're very happy. This one is not that. This is really sad.
Need I remind you, earlier in this show, Fairy Godmother was exploded.
Right, with the information that Rumpelstiltskin got from the king in this one.
Spoilers!
We should probably start getting into the episode.
Yes.
So, The Shepherd was directed by Victor Nelli, who has previously worked on Mr. Show, and also had his directorial debut on The Bernie Mac Show. He's directed on Scrubs, The Office, My Name is Earl, Happy Endings, Wilfred, Superstore, and he was a producer on Ugly Betty. So, ton of stuff. It's really interesting as I look up more about the directors and writers. They really go between shows so much, and a lot of the shows are the same, 2 or 3 shows that we see all the time.
And it's just a variety of genres, too.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
I really liked that. And then the episode was written by Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg. Andrew Chambliss previously worked on Dollhouse, Spartacus Blood and Sand, and The Vampire Diaries. He is also the writer for the season 9 comics for Buffy that continued the show after it ended.
Yes.
And he's credited as the writer on 19 episodes of Once Upon a Time, and he left Once Upon a Time after season 6 with the episode's co-writer Ian Goldberg because they both started to showrun Fear the Walking Dead. And then Ian Goldberg, the other credited writer, he worked on the Sarah Connor Chronicles, Flash Forward. He is credited as a writer on 9 episodes of Once Upon a Time. And he also co-created the shows Krypton for Sci-Fi, which is the Superman origin story, and Dead of Summer for Freeform. And he also wrote, or at least was one of the writers on The Autopsy of Jane Doe, the horror movie.
I did see that one. I'm not much of a horror movie person, but I did see that one.
I'm very much not, so I did not see it.
Fair.
And the last bit of stuff before we get into things, this originally aired December 4th, 2011.
The episode itself starts out on the title screen. In the background of the woods, we see a CGI dragon. And you know what this dragon reminds me of? I miss Reboot. But
wow.
That's the animation quality that
That's a show.
The episode itself starts welcoming David home outside the Nolan house. There was a windmill that David hated, but it's gone now. It's replaced by a sign that even looks staged.
Oh, yeah. This is, I did look it up. This is an actual, historical house. In the town where they filmed. So, they just, restaged it. So, that's interesting.
Fair enough. Inside the house, Catherine and David are greeted by a whole bunch of random people.
I wrote literally everyone in town is at this party, and then I was shocked that Emma and Henry were there.
The only people that are named are Jay and his wife Ellen, which they are never seen again. And then also Dr. Whale, bringing him home to be around familiar things to jog and spark his memory. And then also Henry and Emma, who are there because...
I mean, to be fair, they did find David.
Sure, but also so did Mary.
But she was invited, though.
It's true.
As comes to be a plot point.
Henry and Emma in her blue jacket this time.
I love that blue jacket.
It's so good. They're both there because I guess they have to be, and David doesn't remember because... the curse hasn't affected him yet because of his amnesia. And that's just kind of circular logic, but okay, let's go with it.
Magic.
Yeah, magic and curses. Henry plans to jog his memory by having him hook up with Mary. This fucking kid.
He is shipping his grandparents in real life, and it is uncomfortable because she is his teacher.
Yes.
And he is a stranger.
This kid. Anyway, turns out that Emma and Henry are the only people that David actually knows at this party. And then also, in their house, there is someone there serving the food on a veggie tray.
I fully made the note. This kitchen and house are very nice. It did feel too small to have cater waiters.
Yes, but there's only one we will see. It's the same person going around.
I didn't catch it. I thought there were at least 2.
I only saw the one. Henry, subtle as ever, asks if David has ever used a sword. It feels like a turn on that joke from Airplane in the cockpit. Joey, have you ever seen a grown man naked?
Joey.
You ever hang around the gymnasium?
Joey.
You like movies about gladiators?
Joey.
Yeah, a little bit.
It feels like a twist on that because Henry is a 30-year-old man.
Yeah, he would have seen Airplane and really enjoyed it because I am also almost 30 and saw Airplane and really enjoyed it.
Because it's great.
It really is a pretty good movie.
David then asks if Mary is coming because he is also very subtle.
Yeah, it's like, oh, so what about her?
Her, H-E-R, her. Regina is also there in the kitchen, though, telling Catherine to go talk to David. This is a party where someone is serving a veggie tray, out catering serving a veggie tray, but the hostess is there in the kitchen preparing the food on the tray that he is serving.
Yep. I did kind of like how Regina was like, you don't need to do that. Like, she's like, you're doing too much.
She's got weird priorities, but, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Regina coaxes Catherine back out to the party, acting the absolute most. Quote, I lost someone once too, but the love I lost, there's no bringing him back. You have a chance here. Go to him. And, like, that's sweet, caring advice. If only we knew that it was actually genuine.
Are you so sure it's not genuine?
It might start genuine, but, like, it's absolutely ulterior motive as well.
I mean, that's Regina, period. But I will say, stay tuned for that. That's a little bit of possible foreshadowing.
Okay.
Also, I do love how Regina's like,
You got a friend.
Yeah!
she just looks legitimately so happy. Like,
they're both about to cry.
It's really nice. She's like, oh, I have a friend. And then she goes so, like, 500% overboard to help her friend.
Because that's Regina.
Yeah. And like, we stan.
They are forever now BFFs, forever trademark. Catherine can't find David at the party because, oops, he went to find Mary at Mary's place.
Oh no, he went to go find his real girlfriend.
He goes, finds her, and tries to help her hang her birdhouse, if you know what I mean. By which I mean he asks her to step off the stepladder so that he can hang the birdhouse.
I will say, I made the note, again, Josh Dallas and Jennifer Goodwin continue to be so good together.
They're so cute.
Like, they have really good chemistry. It's great.
He straight up asks her if she's into him because he's into her.
I mean, they're adults. I appreciate the, like, is this happening?
Relationships are built on clear and concise communication. And that's just responsible. So, but Mary is hung up on the fact that he is married. David insists that he isn't the one that chose to marry Catherine. My dude, if you want to divorce her, tell Mary this now and follow through on it.
Yeah.
Which we see he does. I am just reading my notes as I was typing them in the moment. So, my dude, I didn't choose her. I'm choosing you. Also, my dude, no means no. Yeah, but I guess he does let her walk away.
They do the thing where it's like, if you want to do this, meet me later. I mean, that's later in the episode, but like...
But still, she's said no
multiple
a couple times, and he's not taken that hint.
Yes.
So, like, real Prince.
We at this podcast do support the idea, no means no, but also, it is a soap opera, so, like...
Yeah.
There's gotta be wrinkles in this story.
Yeah, there is a level of disbelief, but also we're not here to have that pure level of disbelief. We as the audience know to cheer them on and that they are a fated pairing, but, like, looking at it, really, yikes.
Yeah, it's that thing where it's like, looking at it from only these Storybrooke sections, very different show, I think.
Yep.
Like, if you don't have the context of, like, the past trials that they've gone through as characters, it is perhaps a little unsettling.
Speaking of trials, back in the fairy tale realm, Prince Charming rolls a 5 when attacking with his sword and shield and gets knocked back by the barbarian using a trident on this very, very green-screened background.
So that scene took about 6 hours to shoot, apparently.
No.
Very, very long time.
Oh, wow.
The battle gauntlets that he is wearing, the prince is wearing, were made by the same company that made Emma's jackets.
Oh, neat.
Ocean Drive Leather. And I did make the note, get a better shield, dude. One that can't be speared through so easily.
I mean, it was in the fairy tale realm. All they have is aluminium.
Yep. I mean, I guess.
There is a definite lack of steel and iron, as we find out later this episode. In the meantime, the prince gets knocked down, but he does roll a nat 20 saving throw, knocks the trident away, and stabs the barbarian through the chest with his sword.
He gets knocked down, and then gets back up again,
Because you're never going to keep him
You're
down.
never going to keep him down.
Next time, make sure I'm really dead.
As we learn, don't turn the back on the body is a lesson that we will all learn.
Yep. The barbarian falls over, and oh my goodness, this ground, even the ground, is extremely green screened.
Yep.
And then everybody claps.
Yep. Everyone said, wow, that was fun. I was very... Why were they there?
Just to watch, I guess.
But it's like, is it like a little tournament, or were they like battling to the death? And if they were battling to the death, why was there just a little stage where like the kings are sitting?
Remember what we said about a certain level of disbelief? They are just kings who like to watch.
But anyway, so the actor who played the guy that the prince was fighting,
The barbarian?
yes, the barbarian. His name is Robert Maillet. He was, shocker, a wrestler in the WWF in the 90s, who went by the Cajun Giant. He was also in 300 and Deadpool 2.
Who did he play in Deadpool?
He was like one of like I think in like, I've not seen Deadpool 2, but I know there's a scene where he's like recruiting a bunch of people. I think he's like one of the guys who like dies really quick.
Okay.
Yeah, like when it's like it's supposed to be all these like big intimidating people, and then like they all just get completely slaughtered.
Oh, he was a hero.
I believe so.
That scene, yes, very good.
And he was also in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. And I don't know if it's like, the famous pit fighting scene, but he did fight Sherlock Holmes in that movie.
Okay.
And apparently accidentally punched Robert Downey Jr. in the face, which Downey Jr. has said that Maillet was 10 times more upset about it than RDJ was, which I just thought was really funny.
That tracks. So back after the barbarian is killed, Prince Charming's dad, which confirms he's not related to Cinderella's Prince Charming's dad, comes down in a red robe and some other dude in a yellow robe. Can he kill a dragon? Quote, do fairies sprinkle dust? Do trolls live under bridges? Well, I mean, I do both, so I guess that's a yes.
I mean, these are, like, let's just stereotype a bunch of magical creatures right now. They are the upper class.
There is a terrible dragon plaguing the Yellow King's land. King Charming needs gold, but he has a warrior son, so there's the setup for the plot for the episode. The servant removes the Yellow King's glove, and his hand is glowing. Is this King Midas? Turns out yes, but like...
immediately, it's King Midas.
How is that gauntlet not gold?
Magic. Cool. You need a certain level of disbelief, Seth.
He asks for the prince's sword and makes it gold, quote, as a down payment. But, like, gold is real soft, so I guess Prince Charming needs a different weapon for practical uses?
Yeah, maybe not the best weapon to fight a dragon is a very malleable and low melting point metal.
Right, especially for a fire-breathing dragon, and also very valuable sword because now you needed the gold as money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure anyone who's listening is like, you need a certain level of disbelief.
Let's just make a recording of that sound and play it every time.
Oh, AJ's going to now.
Oh, I hope so. Anyway, as a tangent, did Disney do a King Midas movie?
Nope.
Midas is a Greek myth.
Yep.
Why is this King Midas acting in a medieval urine?
Medieval urine?
Why is this King Midas acting in a medieval European setting?
I'm gesturing. I don't know.
Rant.
It's like still a myth.
Anyway, putting a pin in that because, whatever. It's not like that'll come up again later. Prince Charming confirms that this is King Midas and refuses to shake his hand. Now, King Midas looks a little bit familiar.
Yes. So King Midas, he is played by Alex Zahara. He was born in Alberta, Canada, and he actually originally auditioned for Rumpelstiltskin, The Magic Mirror, and Dr. Royale.
Oh wow! So they just said no to all these recurring parts.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh no.
But he's been in a ton of stuff, since the 80s. He's been in The Outer Limits, Stargate SG-1, The Dead Zone, Psych, and one of the more recent of his is The Man in the High Castle on Amazon.
I can't remember specifically seeing any of those. How does he look familiar?
It's a good question, Seth. I don't know.
Maybe I'm just, I don't know, precog? I don't know.
And then
Postcog? Whatever it is.
And then the other king, King Charming, is played by Alan Dale, who's a New Zealand actor. He's had a bunch of prominent roles in The OC, Ugly Betty, and also recurring in guest roles on Lost, ER, The X-Files, and he was also a main cast member in the 2017 reboot of Dynasty.
And you had said off mic that he is apparently on in the script named King George?
Yes, he is King George. He played, because I was watching this and I was like, why do I recognize him? And he played one of the Security Council members in Captain America Winter Soldier.
Oh.
That, I just rewatched that movie. So I was like, oh, well, that's why he looks so familiar.
I did not catch that.
He was also the voice actor for Miranda's dad in the Mass Effect games.
Oh, from Mass Effect 2.
And
yes.
2 and 3, yeah. Like, who's like, has her, she is a cloned version of him, and he's trying to hunt her down and stuff.
Wait, was that 2? Maybe it was just 3.
Her loyalty mission in 2, he shows up, but he's a bigger
so he was in both.
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then, similar to the actor who played Jiminy Cricket's dad, Dale also played King Arthur in Spamalot, but in the West End production rather than Broadway, and he replaced the former Doctor from Doctor Who, Peter Davison. And yeah, that's the two kings.
These two kings be bringing the gold. That was dumb. Please do not leave that in. Please do not leave that in.
Original song, do not copy.
Do not use. Prince Charming turns around as the kings walk away and gives a very leading man speech to the knights when he is stabbed dramatically through the back, straight out his chest, by the barbarian. I guess he should have made sure that the barb was really dead.
It's like, don't turn away from the body. Also, that spear really went all the way through him.
All the way through. Like this spear was as tall as a normal person, and it went just about a quarter of the way through, the length of the spear went through his body.
Now, as someone who hasn't seen this show before, what was your reaction to that moment?
Oh, wow. That was a lot more than I expected. That was a lot more graphic than I expected.
Yeah.
On screen.
Yeah.
It's
on
straight up.
A network TV show. Like, a guy just full gets impaled with this giant spear.
But we only get implications of sex.
Yeah. Putting a shirt on. Oh.
And then later on, we have some sex shaming that's not cool. After the commercial break, Prince is laying in a very green-screened castle great hall with straight-up open hole in his chest.
Yeah, they said show hole. ABC said show hole.
ABC said show hole and then blocked him afterwards.
What? This does not need to go in. I sent you my poll. Show me hole.
Yes. Very good.
I apologize to our entire audience for that.
I don't.
I guess caskets really only exist for Snow White, but again, her casket was glass, so I guess people really just like staring at the dead.
They took the hint. Don't turn your back on the body. You have to keep eyes on it, because it's probably not dead. But this one is dead.
Dead for real, and there's no time to grieve, because King Midas still needs his dragon slain, and this kingdom
needs gold badly.
The king has asked for help, and apparently it's from Rumpelstiltskin.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, he was not a gift. He was my son.
Also, we get the important thing that I'm sure you probably noticed you're going to hear a lot. Magic can't bring back the dead.
Correct. King Charming decides to make another deal with Rumpelstiltskin to bring the prince back. And as payment for this negotiation, he will give up the location of the fairy godmother that we saw go kablooey in front of Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
But we cannot resurrect him because magic cannot bring back the dead. And we get that in the most amazing line delivery from Rumpelstiltskin. Bring him back? No, that's out of the question. He's dead.
He's dead, sis. Also, when he gives the instructions on where the fairy godmother is, He doesn't give an actual location, right? He just...
I'm assuming that information is just given off screen, because I don't think we see anything specific.
Because he doesn't actually say, like, she's here, but I don't know. I was remembering that. I was like, he doesn't say, he's like, oh yeah, she's at, like, 521 Glass Slipper Lane. Like, it's not that.
No, I just assumed that was given off screen. Just there's a lot of information that goes off screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To save time, because we have to get the plot moving. But that line delivery, can I just talk about that again and gush? Because it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's basically, the Rumpelstiltskin is talking and acting to the king, but that line delivery was looking straight into the camera, Office style.
I didn't catch that.
Like, it's very, this is for you, audience.
Very Candy Muse. She dead.
Yes. Again, noting the green screened room with the table being the only physical object in the room.
Yep.
We find out that the dead Prince Charming has a twin brother. Oh no!
What a twist!
I really genuinely like that twist. I think it's... Because, like, yeah, you do get the, like, oh, wait, what? He died? And then, like, just kidding. It wasn't him.
Yep. Back at Mary's house in the worst place, Maine. Emma calls out Mary that David was here. Ooh.
Mary Margaret's doing the dishes, and, like, it's like, so does Emma just not do her dishes? That's kind of what I got from that.
Certain roommate deals just have arrangements.
Like, Mary Margaret looks so frustrated, and I know it's because of David, but she's just, like, frustrated doing dishes, and it's like, oh, girl, I've been there.
We don't have to suspend any level of disbelief for that.
Yeah, no, it crashes down to reality in Storybrooke.
Anyway, Mary says that he's just... Emma says that Mary did the right thing. Emma acts like a modern adult and breaks out the hard liquor for them to share. No mixers, no ice. Holy crap, they are going hard. Back at the Nolan household, David, and this is where I paused it to make several notes. Oh, it's the dead prince that married Catherine. Wrong, but slightly. And had the dog named Ajax, like the Greek myth. King Midas's Greek myth. Is Catherine actually King Midas's daughter? This is where I paused to make all that note. They're looking at pictures, and Catherine asks David to join her in bed, and David asks if they can talk instead to just shut her down.
Yeah, he's like, no, not feeling it.
Catherine says, no does not mean no. If I want what I want. She leads and kisses him, and he says this doesn't feel right and shuts her down harder.
No means no.
No means no. Consent is sexy.
Charming, learn your lesson, because it happened to you as well, apparently.
In a wide open field, the hills are alive with the sounds of twin Charming chasing a sheep.
Oh, just, like, the most carefree run that I've ever seen.
Yep.
And it's like...
With a staff in one hand, the other arm wide out.
No joke. This is like a full adult man. Like, definitely playing younger. Like, he is playing younger than he looks, I think, or supposed to look.
I don't know. I mean, like...
But he's just like... I know he's hurting. It just looked like it was very Julie Andrews sound of music. Just like, running,
These hills are alive.
They're alive, man.
They may actually be, because this is the fairy tale realm. But, this is when I also pause to note that he must be the titular shepherd.
The location they film it on is Bleeburger Farm. It's in Langley, British Columbia. And it has also been on, like, almost any show that films in British Columbia, they have filmed on this farm. It's been on Supernatural, Psych, the movie Leprechaun Origins, The X-Files, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and, like, so many more. The list on this was, like, massive.
Twin Charming's mother comes back from the market and tells Twin Charming that she wants to hook him up with a wealthy merchant's daughter to save the farm, which appears to just be a grassy field and a hut with no internal walls and just the two of them living there with a pen full of sheep.
It's the same house that they used for Geppetto's family in the last episode. They just, like, redecorated it.
A new paint job fixes everything.
Yeah. Veneers. So Charming's mother is played by the actress Gabrielle Rose. She is born in British Columbia and trained in acting in London. And she's been in like a ton of Canadian shows and movies, all of which I did not recognize. I was like, her IMDb page is massive. And I was like looking through it, I was like, I don't know any of these until like we get more recent. And like then she's been on like The Dead Zone, Smallville, Battlestar Galactica, Eureka, The L Word, Psych, Fringe. She was in Double Jeopardy, Jennifer's Body, and A Dog's Purpose. All very different movies.
Yeah, she is.
And most recently, she was in Away with Hilary Swank on Netflix and The Stand, which is the show that was based on the Stephen King novel. Oh, I did have a note. Charming just can't get out of arranged marriages. No matter where he is in an arranged marriage, and it really sucks.
Bob, that's what makes them arranged marriages.
Fate has it in for him.
No means no.
Twin Charming really wants to marry for love. And Rumpelstiltskin appears suddenly and says, hey, I've got a deal. You didn't make the deal, but you're part of it.
Right.
So, now finally, Mother Charming, who you, off mic, you said her name was what?
Ruth.
Ruth is her name. Ruth tells Twin Charming the actual backstory, that he is a twin. He had a twin who was given up to Rumpelstiltskin to save the farm and was this kingdom's prince. Mm-hmm. But now the farm is in trouble again, so I guess that deal went ? But this time, the king will really take care of the farm and make sure no one else will have any trouble. Pinky promise, swear, cross my heart, hope to die.
See, it's not a deal with Rumpelstiltskin, so you can't trust it.
Quote, everyone has a choice theory. Just make sure it's the right one. Cut back to the modern time, Maine, and we get a newspaper, and buckle in, because I wrote down everything on the front of this newspaper.
Oh, you know that if you ever need in the future, that is on the Once Upon a Time Wikipedia.
Oh, I paused it and wrote.
Just to save yourself some typing.
I mean, it was really fun to look at this and read the article, because, it's a little silly.
Go for it.
The front page headline is, Welcome Home, John Doe. But wasn't he always home? Just now he has a name that they weren't using before? The article is, the as-yet unidentified man in his early 30s, who's become known only by the moniker John Doe, has finally gone home, directly to a house right here in Storybrooke. Quote, it's truly a miracle that he had survived it all, end quote, says hospital volunteer and local school teacher Mary Margaret Blanchard on the day of his initial admittance to the Storybrooke Hospital. Quote, it has been interesting nursing him back to health, and we all, yes, this misspelling is in the newspaper, we, space A-L, space A-L-L.
Do you expect that the Magic Mirror ever learned grammar, Seth?
You know, there's a certain level of this. We are all so glad he has pulled through. It is incredible to think how far he's progressed. Not only is he now conscious, but he has a whole new life to live, end quote. Details as to the identity of the individual will be released soon. Several days ago, a woman claiming to be his estranged wife made herself known to the Storybrooke Sheriff's Department. The rest of the page is folded over and you can't see the rest of that article. Other headlines: remnants of the 17th century colonial settlement uncovered at Hairstock Bridge, Lyme disease, a new understanding, destinations, capsaicin, and Comet Marley makes a debut appearance. Mary's the one reading the newspaper, and she's in Granny's diner, and Dr. Whale comes up and surprises her while she is drinking her coffee. Very dangerous. Don't do that.
Yeah. There could be capsaicin in there.
In your coffee, yes. He comments that she has resigned from her volunteer position at the hospital and proceeds to hit on her because he never called her back after their date. And he's bringing this up right now, as opposed to literally any other time that they saw each other when she was, volunteering at his place of work.
Yeah, my note that I made for this was, guess Ruby wasn't around for Dr. Whale to creep on, so he gives Mary Margaret his undivided attention.
Wait, I don't remember. Was he the one on that date with her?
Yep. That was Dr. Whale.
What a fuck.
Yeah.
As Dr. Whale leaves, Regina comes in to talk to Mary about Catherine, and just being a nosy Nancy right in general right after Mary had already turned down David.
Mm-hmm. I love how Regina always tries to get her way, but she goes about it in such a method.
The worst way.
It's like, reverse psychology is gonna happen, right?
Yes, it's like, Regina, chill the fuck out.
Like, it's like, don't you dare do this. And then literally the next scene is them doing this.
Especially because, like, Mary hasn't heard about this. She has no idea that David has left Catherine.
Yep. Guess no one had their phones turned on.
Oops. Regina thinks Mary is the homewrecker. Stay away from him. Let him remember who he was. Careful what you wish for, Regina. Back in fairy tale realm, at some encampment, Twin Charming is getting used to his new look and vibe in the mirror shield and game Zelda gear. Very good job. King Midas comes up to greet the Dragon Slayer. Soldier comes up and scolds Twin Charming that he's buttoned his armor wrong and is holding the sword wrong and is just generally a fuck up. Yep. The fact that he isn't the original prince is apparently an open secret among King George's military.
But don't talk to anyone else.
No.
None of the other half of people here, they can't know, so don't talk about it. Definitely don't talk about it loudly when they're in the background of the shot.
Exactly. There doesn't even need to be a level of suspension of disbelief. The soldiers plan to be the ones to kill the dragon instead of the twin, because obviously he hasn't trained with the sword. He's not expected to be able to do this.
Right.
But they're still going to try. At the Dragon's Lair, the lead soldier that scolded Twin Charming tells him to wait outside and goes in, still using that gold sword, by the way. Again, gold, not a practical weapon, and also valuable. Again, this is the currency that you want to keep.
Yeah, maybe use an actual sword.
My dude. They go into the cave, and almost immediately out comes some dragon fire.
Yeah, like just immediately they're running away.
And they're screaming and all of that. And the Twin Charming escapes the two guards that were with him.
You know what this gave?
What?
This gave Killer Rabbit vibes.
From Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Gave major Killer Rabbit vibes. They go in immediate screaming.
That's what they were missing in this scene, a holy hand grenade.
They should have had one.
Twin Charming does escape his guard to run to the cave without a weapon. The lead soldier survived and is pulled away from the front of the cave by the twin and drops the sword. As a side note, Twin Charming's pants are cut with pockets shaped like jeans pockets and have a flap on them with very modern clasp buttons. And I'm just noticing this for purposes of period clothing appropriateness, not because I was staring. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, very important. You weren't looking. You just caught that because you're an expert in medieval pants.
Exactly. Twin Charming grabs the gold sword and leads the dragon to a narrow path where the dragon gets stuck and does not very conveniently breathe fire on Twin Charming standing just out of reach of his bite.
I think it's that thing where it's like, oh no, he doesn't have his neck is caught. It's like
But he's still roaring and screaming. Twin Charming then takes the opportunity to just cut that dragon's head off.
Yep.
Successfully slaying it as he had to.
His ability of hurting also works for dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really upset that we didn't get a shot of him running with the sword the way he ran with the staff at the beginning.
I was so mad.
With the dragon.
That would have been amazing.
Thoughts on the dragon, by the way?
Much better than the dragon that we saw at the start of the episode.
It honestly looked... It was pretty good.
It was probably the best CGI thing that we've seen. Remember that deer?
The deer.
Back in Mary's classroom, we see she is there, and behind her on the chalkboard, we see information about comets, the sun, star clusters, and nebulas. Also lists the 9 planets. But, like, this was after Pluto wasn't a planet anymore, so, like...
Oh, did you look that up?
Well, that was back before 2000, wasn't it?
Well, you gotta remember, Storybrooke has been stuck for 28 years.
Shit.
So, they don't know this.
I forgot to suspend my level of disbelief.
They're correct. Pluto is a planet.
Pluto is a dog.
Yes.
Just noting
Jesus
things.
Christ, it's so fucking dumb.
It's so dumb. I noticed that only because I had also taken notes on everything in the newspaper, and having the connection between the comet on the chalkboard and in the newspaper seemed like, wow, that was a lot of comet-specific talk in the same episode.
Interesting.
I sure hope that doesn't come up for anything in the future.
Big shrug.
Anyway, David appears as she is opening a letter with a gold sword-shaped letter opener.
I didn't catch that. That's cool. My note here was David in that flannel is looking very good. You noticed the pants. I noticed the flannel. I think that's the difference between us.
I mean, I didn't say that I didn't notice the flannel.
Yeah, that's true.
It turns out that he's left Catherine, but we knew that from Regina. Mm-hmm. But now Mary hears it from his lips. And the reason that he did it is because he knew that he was pretending, and he thought that him pretending would hurt her more than leaving. Which, rational and still hurtful, but, like, also thoughtful in that way.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Quote, she deserves someone to feel about her the way that I feel about you. And Mary has had it with this shit. Kids start entering the room as David tells Mary that the man that married Catherine is gone, and this man wants something else. That's,
Yeah, phrasing.
David wants Mary to meet him at the bridge where they met at 8 o'clock tonight. Dramatic!
Cute.
At Sheriff's office, Graham brings donuts to Emma. Sometimes cliches are true. Bribing Emma to have her work the night shift because it's convenient for the story.
Mm-hmm.
Mary comes in to talk to Emma because teachers, I guess, have the freedom to walk across town in the middle of the school day.
She's a lunch break.
And there's totally not, papers to grade or things to do.
The geography of Storybrooke is not defined at all.
Oh, very much not.
Possibly less than the Enchanted Forest.
I love, just... Side tangent. I love, just sitting here looking at all these little discrepancies. It's so silly and pedantic, but, I'm aware that it's pedantic. I'm not doing it to detract from the story.
Right.
I just, that's funny.
Yeah.
So, Mary is complaining about it and says, she tells the situation to Emma and says she's trying to be strong, tell him no, but still stay strong about it. And Emma says, do go for it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say that you're into each other. It's another for him to actually act on this. He did
something. He did.
Just like I said earlier, do something to show her.
Right, yeah.
He did the thing. Good work, my dude. He made a choice and left Catherine, so now he's available. Meanwhile, at Granny's hotel, David enters his room and fiddles with his wedding band.
Did you notice that, originally, when we saw the keys at the inn, they were all, there's the one that Emma got that was, the big keychain on it.
With the
all
song
the other
on
were
it.
normal. His also had a very big keychain on it.
I did notice that. I did not note it.
I don't think it's the same one, though.
It's got a similar shape.
Yeah.
At King Charming's castle, the dragon's head is now sitting on the big circular table, and it is gilded by, I guess, King Midas. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be placed between the Chimera and the Mapinguari. And I looked this up. I guess that's from Brazilian folklore.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really just going all over the world with this.
Yep.
Twin Charming wants to go home. Why is I already asked this earlier, but again, why is Midas's gauntlet not made of gold?
It's magic.
I didn't suspend my level of disbelief. But King Midas had an ulterior motive for having this dragon slain. He needed someone who was worthy of taking his daughter's hand. And it had to be the dragon that was slain. Not the chimera, not the Mapinguari. The dragon needed to be slain.
Of course. Only the dragon.
And speaking of the one and only, Midas introduces his daughter Abigail.
Who we recognize.
We recognize her as not Ricky Lindholm.
not Garfunkel from Garfunkel Notes.
It is Catherine. King Charming blackmails Twin Charming to agree to wed Abigail.
Also, when Abigail walks into the scene, if phones existed, she would have had a phone.
She would have been on the phone,
like
headphones
she's
in.
A girl who be texted.
Scrolling TikTok. She would have been like midway through a dance, or she would have been what's her name from Parks and Rec? Don't be suspicious.
Oh, Mona Lisa Saperstein.
She would have been.
Yeah.
Money, please.
I mean, her dad makes gold, so you know she did that.
It's okay, Daddy. I trust you know what's best.
So, Abigail Midas is played by Anastasia Griffith, who is an actress who was born in Paris and was raised in London. So, full European moment. And she has not had as large or as wide, perhaps, of an acting career as a lot of the other actors on the show, but she played principal main roles on both Damages and Trauma. Damages being that show with Glenn Close and Rose Byrne on FX. It's like, I think, a legal drama or something. Okay. And then Trauma was like an ER kind of show that was on NBC. And then she was also on Elementary, that Sherlock Holmes show on CBS, and The Mysteries of Laura, which is what Deborah Messing did after Will and Grace. And I think it didn't last very long.
I don't remember it lasting long. I don't remember at all.
I remember seeing a promo for it once, and that was it. Anyway.
In the streets of Storybrooke, David is wandering around with a map, and a wild Regina appears.
Yeah, it just happens. Like, hey.
The audience throws a rock. She's apparently heading home from work, on foot, even though she usually drives, and it's late at night.
Okay, this is one that I will buy, because, like, she was waiting for him to walk by. This is the level of like, scheming that Regina does.
Oh, no, this isn't, like, TV producing level of pointing this shit out. This is, in the story, valid within the character motivations and what they typically do. Bullshit, pointing out. David is very forthright and tells Regina he's meeting someone at the toll bridge. Uh-oh. Regina tries to convince him to change his mind. Fails. She doesn't really try very hard, considering all we know about Regina. And gives him directions. Correct directions? We'll see.
Fully incorrect.
Fully incorrect, as we find out. But, like, in the moment, that's what I typed and made sure to note. And as he walks off, she says to him, "Good luck, David. I hope you find what you're looking for." And, like, why didn't he compare what she was saying against the map? Like, he's holding a map.
He is fully holding a map of the city, which I would love to see. I don't know where anything is here.
You just suspend your level of disbelief. Mary's waiting at the spot, but David isn't there. He's walking by Gold's pawn shop and goes inside. The camera focuses right on Geppetto's creepy-ass parents.
Do you also notice the tea set that was there?
I did notice it, but I couldn't read anything that was on there, so I didn't write anything down about it.
It was rose-themed.
Oh, okay.
And that's maybe some foreshadowing.
Good to know. Thank you. Thank you very much. A blown glass unicorn catches David's eye, and a wild Mr. Gold appears.
He's there. He stays at his shop now to make sure that, like, young girls don't break in.
Don't throw the first brick at Goldwall. It turns out, shockingly, Regina gave David the wrong directions. Oh no. On his way out, a windmill catches David's eye this time. David appears to remember the windmill. It used to belong to him. Mr. Gold cracks a smile. And I paused here again to be like, is this place like a repository of places, of just items to maintain the curse? That's what I thought at the moment, because, like, he
I'm
remembers.
shrugging over here.
And then later on, we get more information.
Mm-hmm. Also, it just occurred to me, could you imagine if Don Quixote was in this because of his vendetta against windmills?
It was a dragon!
It's a dragon! He fought a dragon! It had 4 wings!
Yes!
And was not moving.
Back on Twin Charming's mother's farm, Twin Charming rides out and greets Ruth and breaks the news that now he's going to marry Abigail. But now Mom decides that he shouldn't take the deal. Quote, "Your freedom to choose is more important than anything." Ma'am, that's a little late. The deal's already been done.
I love how she's like, I'm gonna die either way. Like, do what you want. Which, like, good mom. Good mom right there.
I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna see you either way. Let's at least do what we want. She acquiesces and gives him the ring that we see from episode 3. And he did say that it was his mother's, didn't he? So, like, I appreciate the tie-in. And I appreciate that it wasn't immediately the next episode. It was a few episodes later. So, like, it's a fun callback.
It's really beginning to, like, weave in and out between, like, these past segments.
Yeah.
Where, like, you'll start to notice a timeline that like, it's like, oh, wait, that happened, like, 10 episodes ago. Like, it's really interesting how they do that.
Just like having Geppetto's parents be shown in the Cinderella episode before we saw how they got there. Meanwhile, at the toll bridge, Mary is waiting. David finally arrives and tells her that he remembers living, loving, laughing with Catherine, and feels, even though he doesn't currently love her, he feels like he has to honor what he remembers.
He's an honorable man.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Jennifer Goodwin in this scene tore my heart out.
Oh boy.
This is awful. Like, I feel so bad for her.
She is our perfect baby princess, and her heart has just been broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is brutal.
And it is going to get more broken as the scene goes on.
Yeah.
So he has to go back to Catherine because it's the right thing to do. And she just, like, rips my heart out and saying, the right thing to do would have been not to lead me on in the first place.
Which, correct. Yes, that is the correct right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, she's so good.
Yeah.
Like, I think in my memory of this show, I think I did not remember how good she is. I remembered Lana Parrilla being so good as Regina. I did not remember Jennifer Goodwin being this good as Snow White, and she's good.
So far it's been like she has moments. Where she has her moments, she has her moments. But compared to people like Regina,
right?
Like, Mary's part is a bit more subtle. Mm-hmm. Whereas Regina's just camp queen, yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Jennifer Goodwin is doing the A24 performance that Regina never would. Because Regina is a Marvel villain.
Yes. And now we've reached the point in the show that we're really recognizing as the episode is wrapping up. We have to get through a few clips, a few different scenes just to set up
towards the end.
Just to set up the next where the story is going. Mm-hmm. Emma's riding around in the sheriff's car, just doing a patrol around the town. She sees someone slip out of a second-story window. She clocks the guy in the face.
Yeah, he's like walking down the driveway. She just, no.
She girl bosses him, just like her mother did back in...
Honestly,
Back in, what was it, Snow Falls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it's Sheriff Graham. Regina needed him to come over.
Also, Emma's face was like, Henry was home?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
This part I fully didn't understand. Like, mm-hmm. These are two consenting adults, both of them single, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, is this show sex shaming? I'm not down with that.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's the fact that
he was asleep. Henry was asleep.
Graham
Graham says that several times. Henry was asleep. They just didn't want to disturb him.
What I was getting was Emma's reaction was much more, I think, like, do you like me? Like, you invited me to work with you. I thought we were flirting. That's kind of what I got.
Oh, I didn't get any kind of flirting at all.
It's not super heavy, but I picked up on some of it.
Oh, I'm just clueless to that, I guess.
Well, because remember when the coffee or the hot chocolate comes, and she's like, "Oh, cinnamon," she goes up to him, and she's like,
she assumed he was flirting.
Right, exactly.
So
she has a thing for him.
And
I think
she's just presumptuous.
Yeah, I think that she's just like, it kind of hits her all at once, and she's like, you hired me to work for you and for this awful woman, and you're sleeping with her?
But she keeps commenting that Henry was home.
Yeah, I think she's using that to deflect.
Okay, I could see that.
And that's our psychology corner.
Still rude.
Yeah, still rude.
Anyway, continuing the montage, back at the Nolan house, David comes back to Catherine. Blah, blah, blah. Let's work on things. I'd like that.
Mm-hmm.
Next scene, on a very green-screened castle courtyard, Twin Charming and Abigail begin their carriage ride to Midas's palace along the scenic route, where they will come across a downed tree and Snow White's ambush.
I did like how the episode went basically directly into the third episode of the show.
That was really, really nice.
Like,
yes.
It went, like, smoothly, and, like, now you know the castle he was going to was King Midas's castle.
Yes. Episode closes out in the diner. Mary is crying, and Dr. Whale walks in, asking her to talk. And then he buys her a drink, and she says yes.
Ruby's not around?
No. It's funny how people can stay on track when she's not there distracting their wandering eye. I'm totally not serious about this.
Yeah.
Fuck Dr. Whale.
Yeah, the guy sucks.
If you want to be committed to a person, that's cool. Just pick your lane and stick with it.
Right, yeah. Like, it's like, girl, get a better... Oh, what's the word?
She can't find anyone better. She's been trying to date in Storybrooke for 28 years.
Yeah. There is, actually... I'll show it to you once we've gotten to a certain point in the show, but, like, one of the DVD special features they did was, like, for a dating app in Storybrooke.
Oh my
and, like,
God.
all the people that are there, some of which you haven't met yet, or haven't figured out who they are, like, have their profiles being, like, very, very... you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge to their character, so I can't show it to you yet, but you brought it up, so it,
Neato.
Yeah, no, and the next episode...
The next episode is called The Heart is a Lonely Hunter.
What's your call on that? What do you think?
I'm just going to read what I wrote down, because, like, I think about this, and then I type it in to my notes, and then I have a little bit more time to think about it afterwards. So what I wrote is... Robin Hood, maybe? No, it's not about the heart. He doesn't really have anything to do with heart. And he's not really a hunter. He's just more of a bandit. And now I know that not every episode is strictly a Disney movie. Sometimes it's a character that was there. So, like, it's maybe just going to deal with the fallout between what happened between Mary, David, and Catherine. But who is hunting? And, like, the only thing I could think of is the huntsman from Snow White. The one that didn't actually cut out her heart. And kind of, like, is that who Dr. Whale is? Is that why he has an interest in her? But maybe I'm overthinking. And then today, after my notes, I didn't have any more thoughts on that.
I'm excited for the next episode.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for staying with us. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts.
Thank you, AJ, for editing our shows. Say hi, AJ.
Hi, AJ.
The title song is World of Magic by Scott Buckley. You can find this and more of his music at his website linked in the description.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at NotEvenOncePod. Links in the bio.
You can follow me on Twitter at TheKidAin'tRight.
You can follow me on Twitter at Recycled Sarcasm.
And you can email us if you have any questions or want to chat about the show at notevenoncepod@gmail.com.
Enjoy your happy ending.
Boom.
What if the happy ending they enjoy is...
Sad. No.
I didn't say anything. It's just IML weekend.